Bonsoir, pipers sans frontières. Comment allez-vous? Evening all, Stephen here. Welcome me back to my fireside here in London in the UK. I'm smoking a French pipe, hence the Gallic introduction. This is a recent estate purchase. It's a Bayard, which is a Chacon second. It's got kind of an Paul thing going on there really. It's got some beautiful grain on it, but I probably won't be able to see it in this light. Hangs beautifully. Gives me kind of a salty old sea dog kind of vibe, I think. And in it, I'm smoking some Samuel Gawith brown sugar flake. This is my first smoke of this. It's a collaboration between Samuel Gawith and the Danish pipe shop. And I made a note here. It's meant to be a sort of representation of the old Orlick brown sliced, which I've never had, so I couldn't say whether there's any comparison or not. But it's matured Virginia, hot pressed with Cavendish, and then it's got some added Burley and Oriental stroke Turkish. Not sure where the brown sugar comes in, to be honest with you. It's got that sort of traditional dried fruit smell to it. I can't say I'm getting much sweetness from the smoke itself. Initial impressions, I'm not overwhelmed with it. But this is a new tin. I've only cracked this tin open today. I've allowed the flake to dry out for about 4 hours or so and rubbed it out quite fine, but no, not really getting much from it. I'm going to say hello to the viewers. Oh no, antisocial. But you never know. Sometimes these things are better once the tin's been open for a while. And with it, I'm drinking some beer. Tonight I'm drinking Marston's Old Empire IPA. God save the Queen. And for the first time, the dog's getting in on the act, aren't you? Aren't you? Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? You're not having my beer. Now get down. There you go. He's craving attention at the moment. We've been out for a walk, but it's pretty grim and rainy out there, so he doesn't enjoy it any more than I do, but you have to do it. No, I'm not really getting much favourable from this at all at the moment, but perhaps I'll do another smoke of it in a couple of weeks' time, see if it's improved any with a bit of airing. I haven't got a lot to talk about tonight, just thought I'd check in and say hello. Thank you all for the comments I've had. I've had some sort of very complimentary remarks about my fireplace and fire. And yeah, I mean, I love it. It is great having a real fire. Those of you that have a real fire or have had one in the past will know that actually a tremendously inefficient way of trying to heat a room. Up to 85% of the heat generated by the fire goes straight up the chimney. And so you only get about 15% of the heat projected out into the room. And it doesn't go very far, so once you get more than about a yard away from the fire, it's stone cold. It doesn't, I mean, just having the fire alone would not heat this room, and it's not a big room. I've got a digital thermometer up there, and I can tell you, because I've tried it, that just having a fire alight on its own makes absolutely no difference to the room temperature. But I mean, it's a lovely thing to have. Disadvantage, of course, as well, as when you don't have a fire in it, all the heat that's generated by your other heating, your central heating, also gets sucked up the chimney and out, and then that draws in cold air from outside through any gaps you've got around the windows. And this is a very drafty house. It's a Victorian house built about 1890, and was never really modernised, so I've still got all the original sash windows and the original doors, and people that had the place before me took all the carpets up and stripped it back to the floorboards and one thing and another, so it's pretty drafty and cold. But I mean, that said, I still love having the fireplace. It's obviously, I have the central heating on as well, but there's just something about a real fire, and I think it's something almost in our DNA. I mean, when you think about it, for centuries the fire would have been the focal point of any community or any family. It would have been your means of cooking your food, light, warmth, obviously. And then once we started working metals, fire would have been a means of producing better tools. So I think that's sort of built into us and encoded in our DNA, which is why I can actually spend hours, well, not hours, but a long time, just staring into a fire. And I think a lot of people can do that. It's almost hypnotic. I said this to Brad, Pipes and Kayaks, as well, because when he was doing one of his hiking videos. And there's something about being drawn as well when you're outside to natural running water, like a stream or a river. And once again, I think it's the same thing like with the fire. These have been the fundamental components that kept us alive. And so it's a lovely thing to have. I wouldn't want to be without it, but sometimes I curse the fact that, you know, it doesn't exactly help to keep the place warm that much. But it is lovely just to sit and look into the fire. And that sound of the crackling as well, similar to the sound of running water. Really peaceful, relaxing, meditative, and it goes very well, obviously, I think, with smoking a pipe and drinking a beer. I'm getting a bit more sweetness from this tobacco now, but still couldn't say that there's anything special about it as far as I can see. Perhaps I might have dried it a little bit too much. I was expecting it to be fairly wet, as a lot of Sam Gareth stuff is, and it wasn't actually. So it's burning quite hot as well. Still, I shall persevere and experiment with it. Cheers once again. And that's really all. I haven't really got anything else to say. Just wanted to check in and say hello to everybody. Hope you're all doing well and keeping warm and dry wherever you are at this particular time of year. And I was just going to give a mention, because I said at the beginning, Pipers Sans Frontières, Pipers Without Borders, to a relatively new member of the YTPC. He's got a few videos up recently, and that's Nikolai in Moscow in Russia, extending our boundaries even further in the YTPC, which is always a good thing. So if you haven't seen Nikolai yet, I'll put a link to his channel down below. I think it's sort of Merciful Advery, I can't remember, but I'll put a link down below and go and check him out and give him some support as well. Because as I say, it's all to the good, spreading the word and spreading out throughout different countries. Now I think that's it for this one. Be checking in again soon with another video, but thanks a lot for watching if you have, and take care everybody, and enjoy the rest of your evening wherever you may be, or whatever time of day it happens to be. Cheers. I wish you good health. Bye bye.